Hey, what's going on, guys? Coming at you today with another crisp review. Today we're going to be looking at the Toho Kaiju series Godzilla 2000 and Orga. To get started off, we'll take a look at Godzilla 2000's tag here. So for his tag, it's just a picture of him during the final sequence of the movie. The Toho Kaiju series tags, for the Millennium series figures at least, have this black trim with yellow lettering. Definitely really cool tag, makes it look unique. On the back you have the movie poster icon, which looks really cool. And on the inside is just all of this, which most of us can't understand. And then for Orga's tag, same style, just has Orga on the front, same black trim, Orga down at the bottom, same movie poster on the back, and same inside. So those are pretty cool. To get started off, we'll take a look at Godzilla first. So, as you can see, this is obviously has very, very pink spines. It's a little bit different color scheme than the more recently released, or the reissue of the Movie Monsters series, Godzilla 2000, because it has more pink spines. They're very metallic and shiny. The vinyl it's cast in is a very, very dark green. You really can't tell if it, unless it's in direct sunlight or if it is kind of like a wet, you can kind of tell, but other than that, it looks still pretty dark gray. His eyes have this very nice pupil that has a kind of reddish-orange outline around it, which makes this Bandai figure of Godzilla at least a little different, because not a lot of them have big colored eyes like that. The teeth, claws, and toenails are all the same kind of bonish white color. He has a red tongue, which is painted pretty decently. And that's about it for his paint. His detail looks really, really good though. He's very, very scaly and dragon-like. I really like the sculpt on this figure. It's way more interesting than kind of like the Bandai Creation style one was. I definitely really like the way this one looks. He's got really nice, these kind of 4-point scales on his chest, and then the more jagged triangles that stick off of his shoulders and his legs here. His face looks very nice. The bigger ears kind of popping out nicely. All over, looks really, really good. The spines are all very, very nice, jagged and textured, even with these little holes in them, so those look really good. And then he has the segmenting all the way down his tail, and then the paint continues all the way down as well. So, really nicely done. Really, really like the sculpt of this figure. So, we'll move on to his articulation next. For his articulation, he's pretty limited. You get the arms that will move in and out, no surprise there. And then his legs will move forward and backwards. And you can't get him to go 360 because his arms do get in the way. But you can get him to go pretty close. And then his tail can rotate as well. But it's really stiff. Nothing in the neck or upper body region. So, definitely really cool. Next we'll move on to Orga. For Orga, he is all done in this kind of grayish-brown vinyl. Looks really, really matte. It's not very glossy at all, and it's a very interesting color. And then on top of that, he has these silver and gunmetal highlights that give him a more glossy appearance all over his body, on his tail and down his back, with white on his chest, and then the metallic blue on top, with yellow eyes, white teeth, and then a very red inside of his mouth. So, more different colors than on the Godzilla, but the painting does look, I don't know, it's not great, it's not fantastic, but you can tell it's Orga, and that's all that matters, I guess. For his detail, the mold is actually really good, besides the paint job. His shoulder cannon looks really nice. It's actually bulged out in the center, if you can tell, so it's not just flat back there, with all the texturizing that's going on inside. The kind of his back transformation looks really, really nice. It's very rigid all the way down, and it's not symmetrical at all. It's all different, which kind of fits his character very well. And then that continues all the way down the back into his kind of weird flaps. I don't really know what these were for, but he had them. And then his tail, all the same color, silver, and then it kind of segments out into more of those kind of flap-like apparatuses. On his face, it's pretty plain. It's got the same kind of texturizing that he has all over his back. His teeth are really nice. They're all separate and they stand out. Inside of his mouth, you can tell. Yeah, there is some texturizing that's going on. Nothing fantastic, but he has it, so that's good. And then the different kind of rigidness that's on this side that his shoulder cannon's on, which is not here. It has more muscle right here, so that's different and that's unique. His chest has the weird open cavity, kind of like indented rib cage going on, and that looks interesting. He was kind of a weird monster, so. And then he's got his big bulky legs that are kind of like a rigid scale armor pattern going down, and his 3 big toes. And then his hands look very alien, obviously. They all look really good. There's not really much paint on the fingertips, especially on the inside. There's not painted at all, but that's okay. And then this arm is different than this arm, because this one has the spikes right here. So overall, his detail is more of his stronger point than his paint is. For Orga's articulation, he's pretty limited. All it is his arms will go in and out right here. They kind of just swivel, so you can get them kind of forward like this, or you can get them all the way out to the sides and kind of back like that. And then really all you're going to get is his legs going forward and backward. Not too far, because then they'll run into his arms and then these back flaps, and then his tail will spin around. So he's pretty limited on his posing capabilities. The only issue that I have with the Orga figure that really isn't a problem on the Godzilla is the fact that he's got all these super huge ugly gaps that split apart super easily, especially on his back here. This thing will actually shift up and down because it's so big. Like, I'm sure they could have found a way to cast this better, and now it actually kind of opens up completely and you can see right inside of the figure, and then it's like super easy just to pop right back on. But I don't know, it looks not that appealing with that huge gap right there. And then it's similar on his arms too. Like, I'm sure they could have casted his arms as one piece, but there's this big separation here. But that's really my only problem with him, and Godzilla doesn't have that ugly fate. Side by side, you can tell that the scaling isn't 100% accurate here, because Orga was about the same size, if not bigger than Godzilla. I mean, he had to eat him, so having Orga's head only go up to Godzilla's neck and then his back being shorter than Godzilla's fins, he's really undersized. I'm sure that the memorial box version of this Godzilla that's shrunken down is, you know, a better fit because they'll be more the same size, and I'm not sure if the Movie Monster series, the newly released one from 2016, is a recreation of this mold or that mold, so I don't know if that one's any smaller than this one, because this one's about 7 inches tall to the spine up there, so this one is a little taller than most figures. And then that Orga, of course, Orga is really short in comparison. I'm pretty sure his head only reaches about 5 inches, where the 6 inches is the top of his back, so he's pretty small. Kind of makes these two figures being a set look a little weird next to each other. I mean, from a front angle they do appear a little better, but it's still, he's too small. I mean, they could have made him a little bigger, or they could have put him in a 9-inch scale for all I care. That would have still looked better, because this is an abnormally large vinyl. For some additional scaling, here they are next to a regular Bandai 9-inch Mechagodzilla and a Marmot Millennium Godzilla. And then here they are next to the NECA GMK Godzilla and the SH Monster Arts Godzilla Feet Ava 1 figure. And you can tell that Orga is even shorter than the Monster Arts figures, and then this Godzilla is bigger than all of the other figures in the similar scale. Overall, these two figures are really cool, and they're kind of unique. They're not really on the super rare side, but it's kind of harder to find these two anymore, especially with two other versions of this guy that came out now with the Memorial Box and the recent reissue with the Movie Monster series. And then the only initial release of the Orga. They're a little more difficult to find, and especially on the pricier end. The Godzilla can go anywhere from $20 to $40 before the reissue, so it might be even more now because he's different. And the Orga, you were looking around 60 or 75 bucks to pick him up, and that was with the tag. Like I got him at G Fest like 5 years ago, so it was a decent deal. I mean, some people try to sell them for more, but they are a little harder to find. So if you see a good price and you don't have them, I definitely recommend picking them up, especially because this is the only Orga you're going to be able to get. And this Godzilla does really, really cool, especially them being in the Toho Kaiju series. They're a little bit harder to find. They're definitely cooler. I generally recommend these two figures to anyone looking to pick up more Millennium Godzillas or Millennium monsters. They're definitely unique, and I think that they're sculpted really good. The paint is kind of iffy on Orga just because it's very, it's just spray and pray with that kind of paint. You might get better ones than this one, and they're really cool figures. So I definitely recommend you guys going and finding these and picking them up if you don't have them, or I don't know, just kind of keeping an eye out for them. But this has been another crisp review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.